RTD Live Talk, Detroit's number one late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Tuesday night edition. Excited to be back. Looking forward to finding out what's on your radar. As always, hopefully, we'll get more people notified through YouTube. But in the meantime, for those that are plugged in, definitely let me know where you're watching from. Any first time visitors or guests to the community, let me know where you're watching from via the chat. And then also, when the phone lines open up, 313-462-0027 is the number to call and let your voice be heard. And so as always, I like to prepare a couple of topics to touch on, throughout the day. And of course, you guys share stuff on Discord as well as in the Telegram. And I like to comb the web throughout the day just to grab the most interesting stories. And so within the last couple of hours, something that caught my attention happens to be in relation to the pre-scheduled cyber drill that's scheduled to take place at the beginning of this week over the European Union area. And so far, as I've said before, all these drills or exercises are leading up to some type of main event. And so I got some thoughts I want to share with you and, of course, get your thoughts. But lots of things are developing. Jerome Powell came out today. So I guess, kind of put a little bit of excitement in the markets because it looks like they're calling his bluff because he's obviously talking about dialing back. At the same time, the market's dependent upon more support. So something is definitely going to occur between now and the time they attempt to pull off this with removal of the accommodative policy. So anyway, hope everyone is well. I want to jump right in. Let me know if everything sounds good on my side, and we can jump right in. So we got Jay checking in. We got Major Ken. We got JoJo. We got Jim Diggs, LBP. We got Patrick checking in from Ohio. We got Don Jason. We got the one they call Louis checking in. Worldwide Emergency. AJ Stackerdom. Groveland Gal from Florida. We got Spark Adventures 81 from Chicago. Appreciate you. Lala checking in. Patrick, James, a fair amount of people here, man. Appreciate you guys for blessing me with your presence as always. In support of the channel, if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up button. Hopefully that'll help the algorithms kick in. But it's amazing when you have over 30,000 people, but yet only a couple hundred get notified. Just let you know that either I'm doing a good job or they're trying to suppress the truth. But it is what it is. All right. So I want to jump right into it because I think, and so just, of course, all this is just, as I like to say, tinfoil hat, even though I ain't wore this in a while. This is all tinfoil hat, far left field. I pray to God I'm wrong, but I'd rather throw out some ideas that's in that ballpark than be completely oblivious, thinking that everything is all fine and hunky-dory and the Federal Reserve is here to make the full recovery complete, all that good stuff. And so I entitled this today, what is this? I forgot what I actually titled it. But the last pre-scheduled cyber attack drill before the main event. So that's a lot of words in one, but I want to share with you why I think that might be the case because it goes with that favorite saying or just the favorite cliche, 3 strikes, you're out. And I believe that this current, this is a large scale event that's being ran this upcoming week. This is the 3rd strike, and the next one might be the main event. But just to show you how much cyber has been a primary issue for a lot of corporations. And of course, that's one of the downsides or the cons of living in a technologically advanced age where everything goes through the internet, utilizing some type of hardware and software. It's just inevitable that there be some type of malware, ransomware, you name it. But just to give an idea as to how serious things are, I just typed in cyber attacks after the fact just to see what was trending. And within the last couple of minutes, New Mexico jail forced into lockdown after a cyber attack and incapacitates cameras and doors. Says businesses suffer 50% more cyber attacks per week in 2021. And it goes on and on. Maryland health workers, lawmakers want answers as to problems that persist a month after cyber attack. Thousands of school websites went down in a cyber attack. So cyber attack has been something that has been really utilized in preparation for the response, of course, that they're going to throw out. But real quickly, I want to just give you the lead article for tonight. And this is basically something fresh within the last couple of hours. But it says EU to stage large-scale cyber attack exercise on the supply chain. And so as I look back and glance over all the prior large-scale exercises, they all had some common focuses. And so it looks like this one is on the supply chain And just to give you an idea as to some of the details, I highlighted something, and then I'll go through this real quickly so I can get the phone lines open. But it says European governments will launch later this week a large-scale simulation cyber attacks against multiple member states. It says participants will be confronted with attacks on the supply chains and some spillover socio-economic effects in other member states. So there's 28 nations within the EU. I would assume all of them will be participating in some capacity, but yet the supply chains is their primary focus, is what we're being told. And some of the spillover from socio-economic effects. What is socio-economic effects? That lets me the response that people will have about the economic ramifications of their perhaps financial situations being cut off, the whole passport stuff that they're all dealing with over there, limiting them to even more of what they can't do, to name a few. But one thing that gives me a somewhat of a time frame, it's my personal opinion that this event here, which focuses on supply chain, is something that's coordinated in the EU. And of course, the information will be shared throughout all the other nations that are also participating in their own cyber attack drills. But what gives me more of a, the clock is ticking, prepare or brace for impact as best you can, whatever that means to you. It says the aim of the 6-week exercise is to stress test Europe's resilience and strengthen preparedness and cooperation amongst member states and improve the effectiveness of joint response. So ultimately, they're preparing for some type of catastrophic meltdown that we know it's coming because they're preparing for this. And it's designed to basically strengthen them against the people. And the thing that stuck out the most is that it says 6-week exercise. So that puts us in the beginning of March. And also what is happening in the begin or around the March timeframe to go along with that type of an event. Can we say anything about the Federal Reserve supposedly having their first interest rate, allegedly having their first interest rate hike, or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like something to do with the Federal Reserve is also taking place in March. That 90-day window that I've been talking about, 6 weeks puts us in that time frame. So something to be just cautious of and aware of for whatever it's worth to you. And then just to show you how this exercise here to me makes the third one. And of course, as I said, 3 strikes, you're out. Let's just go back to the very first one. And so the very first one is Cyber Polygon. So Cyber Polygon has been a yearly, I think it's been going on for 3 years or so, held by the World Economic Forum. And it was more so geared towards the corporate world. So we have the supply chain situation. The EU is trying to iron out the kinks for that. Here we have the private corporate sectors coming together in preparation for a globally systemic event. That, of course, the video to this said that, it's going to be something greater than any response that could, any type of ramifications that happen with COVID. It will pale in comparison. The little video here that I was just watching a moment ago talks about how, it's going to, the ransomware, malware, whatever they're going to, inject into the system is going to spread so fast that it's going to just cause a lot of chaos. But highlighted one thing here. What is a Cyber Polygon? It says Cyber Polygon is a unique cybersecurity event that combines the world's largest technical exercise for corporate teams and online conference features senior officials from international organizations and leading corporations. So ultimately, all the globally systemic important banks participated in this, as well as all the big tech companies participated in this event. So the first, for the one coming up, EU nations, the very first one, tech companies and too big to fail banks. And then let's not forget what happened in this last event a couple of weeks ago. Israel trailblazes 10-country cyber attack war game to boost cooperation against hacker threat. And this was geared towards the banking sector, the financial sector. And it includes just 10 nations. So you factor the EU, all the private sector from the World Economic Forum, and what's happening with Israel and IMF, BIS, World Health Organization, all that stuff like that. In this one, those are 3 of the largest exercises that has taken place within the last 9 or so months, less than that. And so according to the way this 6 weeks of drills that they're going to be going through, it ends in the beginning of March, which I could just say happens to be around the same time frame as the Federal Reserve and alleged interest rate hike, or them completely removing all their 120 billion in quantitative easing. So we'll see. But anyway, on to another note, real quickly. And as a result of all this, uh, the drying up of the spigots, the cutting off of the intentional spigots of monetary easing, as well as the removal of all the support bases, whether it be the unemployment, the boost, and stimulus, and all that stuff being gone. Here we have issues. There's people signing petitions. There's 3 million signatures to date petitioning for 2,000 monthly stimulus checks. And the person who's a restaurateur says Americans need some certainty. And so they're basically begging and pleading the government for certainty in a deliberately intentional, uncertain type of environment. But that's just what's happening. So just more information here. But yet people are demanding and want more easy. And then you factor in the Treasury warns taxpayers to brace for a turbulent tax filing season. And so this upcoming February, so as of January 24th, starts tax time. But then again, they're short staffed. Of course, this whole variant situation is putting fear and they're, people are not showing up to work or sick, all that stuff. So it basically puts the government in a very tight pinch to be able to handle and process transactions. And when you read through this article a little bit, it talks about how I think there was it said 35 million, there are 35 million or so transactions or so behind to where they have not been able to get to it over the last year or so. So they're still clogged up from last year or two. So this is going to be rough for those that are anticipating get some type of refund on top of all the complications that they've incorporated with the tax credit stuff and, how to file all that stuff, whatever. So just something worth talking about. Next one here. World Bank demands. So this is the World Bank demands faster G20 debt relief as poor nations are squeezed. They're squeezed at the same time the Fed is looking to remove the accommodative policy and increase the borrowing rates that they are all subject to. Not going to fare out well. And then, of course, Jerome Powell got up in front of, Congress for a second, nomination or whatever. Talked a lot of hot air until he got into the whole CBDC talk. So the Fed chair and U.S. Senator agree on core principles and limits for a potential digital dollar. So I had a chance to listen to the whole spiel. And according to the way the Senator Tomey laid it out, he's for it. He's as long as the Federal Reserve doesn't overstep their boundaries in removing commercial deposits from the retail sector, from the commercial bank sector. So basically, they want stable coins to also run alongside the CBDC. And they kind of left it at neutral, but they're continually sowing seeds because we know it's inevitable. But yeah, it's just more of the framework for the response to the issues that they are creating right now. Because after the Cyberattack event, the groundwork will be laid for the introduction or the restructuring of the current monetary system completely, incorporating the central bank digital currency from the commercial bank digital dollar. Okay, another one here. I thought I couldn't help myself on this one. It says U.S. finalizing plans to ship free test via USPS and shares first contracts. And so I would just, out of curiosity, they're utilizing the United States Postal Service to ship tests, and they're finalizing plans to ship 500 million free tests. And granted, last time I checked, we only had 330 or so million people. So that's an additional 170 million that it's going to be wasted. But that's what government does. They're not good stewards with the funds they've been entrusted with. But what caught my attention is that when you look up the companies, so the very first company here, they got a contract, is a company called Goldberg Security. You Google Goldberg Security, you find out more information. So they were granted $51.6 million under contract to deliver these tests. When you Google them, you go deep into history. It's a small, rinky-dinky company that does annual revenue. They have annual sales of 1.29 million. And according to the data that's online, they only have 30 employees with about 35, subsidiaries under them of some kind. But they have 30 employees and they generate $1 million a year. And they're getting the first contract for 51 million. So if that doesn't tell you that they're lining the pockets of some politician, somebody lobbied to these people and got and put something in their pocket to give this contract to one of the family members of one of the senators. You better believe that, or one of the pharmaceutical agencies, companies, because they got 30 employees according to what's online. And that's just the first contract. Then you go to the second one. It is what is it? Let me see real quick, and I'll stop rambling. What's the next one? It's Revival Health Incorporated in Manhattan Beach, California. So this company here, another small one, it's a tech company. They build medical equipment. So I'm trying to figure out how exactly are they in the swab business, and that leads to my suspicion of what these tests really are. It's my personal opinion that since they came up short, and it's just me, I'm gonna be honest with you up front with you right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put this tinfoil hat on. People know when I put this on, I say some crazy things. Bear with me. But my suspicion is that because that process didn't go according to plan, as far as enough people participating in this, the actual experiment of injecting themselves directly, it's my suspicion that these tests that will be hitting people's doorsteps, labeled as free, coming from these companies that God knows where or what they are. And even in the bottom of this article here, they talk about how be on the lookout for fake scams. And so it says, it basically said if it's not approved by the government, in recent days, fake and unauthorized tests have been sold online. Like always, they want to corner the market because those particular tests that they're putting out there, I believe, are they probably contain some things that would further assist the orchestrators of this whole experience in accomplishing their goal of putting things inside of people's body. So it's just not more so to test and see if you are ill or have symptoms or recovered. I believe, and this is just me, it will deposit something into you. That's just me. I hope I'm wrong, but so far all the conspiracy theories that have been thrown out there have somehow, some way worked themselves into reality. So I don't think I'm too far-fetched. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. And then another one here. What better way to change the narrative other than change the wording? So this is out of Australia about the US. It says United States to start saying up to date instead of are you fully participating. So instead of going around basically labeling, categorizing people as fully participated, they're gonna say, are you up to date yet? And that up to date there basically it further extends the window of time of this continuation of what they're going to try to roll out as far as getting people to get them boosters ongoing. So just something worthwhile there. And then the last one here, I got this from Mr. Steve here. It says, this is Dr. Malone's response to the Veritas drop and so forth. But anyway, enough of me ranting. Let's open up the phone lines. I said enough. For those who are just getting in late, I basically laid out the case to where I think the European Union's approximate 28 member exercise drill dealing with supply chains will be the last drill heading into March before the main event. And the main event, I want to share my thoughts on that because the main event will come in waves. And so I think the first wave of the deliberate attack on the different economies will be the financial sector, the banks. Shut down the banks, cool. That's going to be their way of, basically ramping up the restructuring of the monetary system directly with the CBDCs in the US. Okay, then it's going to be one on the supply chain is what the EU is working on. And then we're going to have the corporate issues where the corporations, i.e. the tech sectors, Facebook, Twitter, all those companies that basically has hijacked the social order of our country, they're going to have a much bigger role in how the government functions. Mark my words. And that plays into all this push towards the metaverse. Anyway, let's see if we can get some calls here. I want to try to get it on my computer here, but let me see if it works. Hello, caller. Are you there? Maybe it's not working. I might have to do it the old way. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can get somebody on here. Give me 1 second. Hello, caller. I can, and hopefully, because it's my first time I get a chance to test it, hopefully the audience can hear you. So continue on, and I will get some feedback from the audience to make sure they can hear you. But if you guys can hear them loud and clear, let me know. So say that again. Go ahead. Give me your name. Where you calling from?
This is Mike in Philadelphia.
Mike in Philadelphia. What's going on with you, Mike?
Oh, good introduction today, and just wanted to draw a little bit of light on our friends in the system with how inconsistent the developments have been with, New York, for example, giving statistics as to what constitutes somebody having gone to the hospital for having had the illness prior to attending, or being diagnosed with the illness upon attending, dying with it as opposed to of it,
right,
etc. So you have these statistics that dictate whether or not they open or close schools, businesses, requirements, 1 mask, 2 masks, 3 masks, etc.
Yeah.
And what comes along with this inconsistency is a media which ought to be just simply objective, simply a medium of what is. However, with consistencies that we're seeing, and the media simply just being an outlet of that, we're not seeing that with the media. Instead, the media is not halting like the inconsistent information it ought to simply be relaying. Instead, the media is pushing a narrative and pushing towards a goal. So really what the media is doing is acting in corroboration or complicitly with some ulterior agency.
Right.
And so we have to see where our media is acting inconsistent with information and rather as a driving force. So we want to maybe consider how the media, which should simply be objectively providing the information that actually is pushing for something else.
Right.
And what that product is disrupting us as a nation. It's disrupting our economy. It's disrupting our culture. It's disrupting our biology.
Right.
And we want to see our media, which should be a product of this nation, why that is turning against us and hurting us.
Right.
And
I can tell you exactly why that is, because there's no such thing as real journalism anymore, and so journalism was bought out by the takeover of the corporations, basically buying all of the mainstream news sources from the TV to the mainstream publications, and being the primary funders of all universities where all the economists, doctors, and all them people come from. So when you never bite the hand that feeds you, and that's why all the billionaires purchase all the news. Like I think the Bezos wife owns Washington Post, and everybody owns something, and they're told exactly what to say in unison. And it's a conspiracy against humanity in a sense. Exactly. So that's why it comes in handy to be plugged into your favorite alternative media sources, because I think one thing we've all learned is that there's no such thing as conspiracy theories, because they've all become relatively, fact at this point. So, but hey, man, I appreciate your calling and sharing your thoughts. So thank you for calling in.
Never forget.
Thank you, sir. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So let me know sound wise. I'm trying to work with some things, so I should be able to have it play directly on the screen, so I don't have to hold up a speaker. But let me know what's going on. I'll do the best I can, just because I get tired of holding the cell phone all the time. But anyway, phone lines are open. Let's talk. Feel free to give me a call. And as also for those plugged in, hit the thumbs up button. Show your support for the channel. Want to hopefully, let those algorithms kick in. But anyway, share some thoughts on the chat, and we'll talk more. So Jay says the media is just a puppet, a show caller. The real thing is to ponder who's pulling the strings, no doubt. Just from the coordinated response by all governments around the world towards these events that have unfolded, lets us know that there's an underlying script that all governments have decided to participate in. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Aaron from Memphis, Tennessee.
Aaron from Memphis, Tennessee. How you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I you seen that new book that John F. Kennedy Jr. wrote?
Yes, sir. I haven't read it yet, but I did see the title, and it's Amazon bestseller already. So.
Oh, yes, it is. I just want to know if anybody aware of that book that's being out. They need to get it while it's hot. I really don't know how they put it out.
Yeah.
And it's going to expose a lot of truth, and it's going to be a lot of angry people.
Right. Exactly.
Wake up.
Yeah, man. Good point. So I'll definitely, because it's one of them things where he exposes all, and of course, it's not been covered by any mainstream sources, and it's like #1 bestseller within a short period of time. So that lets you know that they don't want people to know about what's in that book. So it just, forces people to have to think for themselves, man. But appreciate you calling, man.
All right, man. God bless.
Thank you. Same to you. Yeah, good stuff. All right, let's keep it moving. So for those that are plugged in, just plugging in, I basically wanted to I laid out earlier my case for how I think that this upcoming cyber event, this is taking place at the end of this week, and it's going to go for 6 weeks in the EU. They're going to have member states joining forces, all in preparation for an attack on supply chains, and them basically coming to agreement on how they deal with the social economic spillover effects amongst the different nations. So you got 28 European countries in the EU that's going to be collaborating in some capacity on how to respond to their citizens when they realize that, all this is all the things that they thought they had in a digital realm, as well as all those promises to pay, are reneged upon. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's low blood pressure, Corpus Christi. How's it going?
LBP, doing good, my friend. What's up with you?
Good, Mike, good. Hey, look, man, you remember this what do you call this attack? And they almost destroyed the Capitol, you remember?
Yeah. How can we forget? They're making sure we don't forget. But go ahead.
Look what they're doing on the news recently when the anniversary of the biggest attack in human history on the Capitol. Look, they were pushing this narrative like it was like 10/9/11, and Capitol Police was escorting those people. They were being tour guides.
Right.
See what was going on?
Right. I mean, so that's what we saw, and of course, all the footage and the videos and photos that were not shown about how they basically laid down, opened the gates up, and held the doors open for them, telling them where to go, where they couldn't. I mean, they were directing traffic into the Capitol, but we know the agenda and we know who's behind it, man. So it's just unfortunate more people don't know. What's up?
They set it all up, Mike. That's also they could justify those barriers and walls and the army on the street.
Mm-hmm.
They getting ready, Mike. They getting ready. It's coming soon.
So watch this. As a response to that. So of course we believe that whole January 6th was a staged event. Even going into it, it was just quite obvious that was during the whole Black Lives Matters Antifa hype. So we knew at some point they will be infiltrated amongst the the true people who are just there for support. But then again, as a response of that, the DEA, FIA, all them government agencies, they now formulated an actual script for how they're going to categorize different people in regards to the whole domestic terrorism narrative. So January 6th was a setup for them to come out with the playbook or the guidebook for how they're going to deal with the upcoming social economic events that's going to happen in this country as well, because they have the framework now to label people as domestic terrorists. So does that seem coincidental or intentional?
We're all gonna be living in Venezuela.
Very true, man. Hey, appreciate you calling, man.
All right, Mike.
Be good. Yeah. Isn't that just so timely? Not only did they have an event, but then the response was to come up with some type of guideline and structure for. Let me get this call here. It's kind of loud. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from? Hello.
Yeah, I'm calling in about the January 6th event.
Yes, sir. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Will from Detroit.
Will from Detroit.
That was no Black Lives Matter or Antifa. That was the Proud Boys.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Donald Trump supporters.
Okay.
Arrested some of them. Some of them got arrested. Going for trial for that.
Yeah, but watch this. Watch this. Isn't it interesting that a lot of the people who we are told that was brought up and face charges, they were the ones that were taking selfies, and holding up all types of items like they wanted to be caught. Like, isn't that kind of like, if you commit a crime, would you take selfies of yourself like intentionally and post it on your Instagram account?
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of people do that. You got people on Instagram who selling drugs and going off drugs. And, a lot of stupid. You see that all the time.
Very true.
Yeah, so that, dog, they geeked up in the Capitol building. They didn't know they was gonna be investigated later on. It was all the people who was at Donald Trump's rally.
Yeah.
You seen them all on TV. They marched down to the Capitol, and the police who led them in probably was some of Donald Trump's supporters.
Now watch this. So it's just based upon the way you're positioning it, you're basically saying that Donald Trump supporters. Fair enough. Fair. Okay, so that's fine.
Joe Biden supporters, they ain't see no Joe Biden. They wanted to actually overturn the election.
Okay, so watch this. What's the probability? What's the likelihood and probability that amongst the Donald Trump supporters, as well as the undercover agents, as well as the additional forces at work that were strategically supposed to be there to really get really stir things up? Can we say that there's probably some apolitical people there as well, not necessarily Trump supporters, could be a couple other people as well.
They said the same thing about Barack Obama. He didn't want to give up the president. And just imagine if Barack Obama would have did something like that. Just imagine. And you had a bunch of black people, white people down there, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and all. Barack Obama. What you think the right wing party was saying?
Anyway, go. So
that's all I want to say.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
They had the flag, the Confederate flag. You don't see a bunch of Black Lives Matter people walk with no Confederate flag. They tried to take our governor.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
That's a dangerous thing. That's why I'm scared for him to run again.
Right.
Because we're gonna have the same thing again, and that's why the police was there for weeks after, just in case they tried again.
Yeah, but think about this though.
Joe Biden is the president. He's in the White House. Let's face it. I ain't a real big Joe Biden fan. But he's the president. He's in the White House. We already know corporate run America.
Yeah.
But he is the legal president. He's in the White House. He's not in some cottage somewhere else.
I mean, so just like to his credit, a lot of his speeches have been done on a stage across the street from the White House for some reason. So I'm not sure, like all his booster shots came on stage at some type of theater, amphitheater type of place. So I'm wondering, like, if you're in the White House, why you got to be on our stage so much? So I'll let him be president though.
One thing about it is people don't realize the White House goes wherever he goes. He is the White House. The White House ain't nothing but a building. That's all it is. He is the White House. If he's in Africa, meeting a minister over there, all them for the White House goes over there. When he's in the Air Force One, that becomes the White House. So the White House really is irrelevant. Wherever he's at, that's the White House. He's the one who has to sign that book to make laws.
Fair enough.
Richard Pryor or JoJo or Donald Trump signing that book. He's the one who signed his name, which becomes law.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling and sharing your thoughts, my man.
Okay, then.
Be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, man, interesting call there. Keep it moving. Let me see here. Stackers NZ says, how did you see my channel? I didn't have a chance to look at it though, but definitely, based upon your participation here, if people have interest, they'll definitely come check you out. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Mike? This Miles from NY.
Miles from NY. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, Mike. I want to go through what they call that thought experiment.
Okay, give it to me.
I don't think that when things change, it's going to be the far left that actually imposes the trouble on us. I think it's going to be the conservative. I think that right now the narrative is changing. They're letting Biden take a lot of heat, Kamala Harris, and all these other people in Fauci, and they're giving us wings because they're playing the game with us, like the Game of Thrones. They want us, feel as though we've been offended and hurt more. Because if you think about it, the people that are really more standoffish and ready to go out and hit the streets physically are more on the conservative side, more of the patriots, more of those people that's willing to physically lay themselves down. So who better to bring the war than those people? Right now, they're offending us and making us feel like, to the extreme. They're stripping everything away from us. And in anticipation that the way we respond is going to be extreme in itself, because what was done to us is very extreme. Losing our jobs, going after the kids, all the rest of that stuff. And I think the next person that's voted in is going to be that tyrant. If you ever notice, before those tyrants come, that population has something done to them, and they just lose all faith in the government and the last type of regime or whoever it was. I think the next person that comes in, when that voting time, they're going to let it all collapse before that, blame it on the last people. And then when the new guy comes in, he's going to say, oh, we're going to change this. And, those liberals, we're going to drive them out. And it's just going to be a total extinguishing of them. And then that's going to usher in that communism and all that those guys want. You got to think, man, these guys a symphony. They're not playing like just one side. They're doing a symphony, where it's all the sides. They're moving the constellations. These guys sit and think about this stuff all day. They're not just going to attack you from one side. They're going to attack you from both, They're flanking them. So they're making us think right now, I believe that, okay, we're fighting against the liberals, and they're splitting us and dividing us. But in the end, they're using us as that tool to enact totalitarianism.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, but they're using us as a tool, but we don't actually see it, and that's the masterful part of their plan, I believe.
Right.
But let me know what you think, man.
I appreciate. No, I appreciate you, man. I'll respond to your comments off air. But thanks for calling, my friend. Yeah, good thoughts, great thought there. And so, as far as his assessment on how or which part of the population will have the greatest response, and I think he said conservatives, and so I don't necessarily agree with that one, just because I think more of the conservative, more libertarian, anarcho-capitalists, like don't infringe on my life or my rights or things like that. The people who don't mind, mentioning that free speech and bearing arms is something that they will stick to. I don't think those people are outright looking to respond. It's more so like they have that red line. If you don't cross that red line, we're fine. Because those are more of the prepper community that are trying to be sustainable, self-sustainable without the government. I think the greatest response and the most the portion of the population that will have the most will be the most angriest and have the most dangerous responses will be the people who have become solely dependent upon the government for their entire necessity, i.e. the quote unquote, the government dependent, those that are on the food stamps, government programs, housing programs, the people who have basically made their career out of government support. Those are the people who stand to lose the most, because they don't know what's going on. And the moment the EBT card stops swiping and everything else stops coming their way, they're hitting the streets right away. And then the people, the preppers, the more conservative, the people who are awake and aware, they're going to be the ones defending themselves from being attacked, I think. So, but I could be wrong. But it's one of the things where I personally, I'm not aggressive in nature. I'm observant as to what's going on. I realize there is a line that you can't cross, or I will be forced to defend myself. But I'm not going out there attacking nobody, like, left, right. I don't play the left, right. Like, I know they are puppets, Biden and Trump puppets. And as I've said before, my personal opinion is that they're going to cause so much chaos in our country that the likelihood of us actually having a presidential election is not, I don't think we're going to have a presidential election put like that. That's just my personal opinion. Let's get this last call. Hello, caller. Which name are we calling from?
This is Ed in Ohio. How you doing, Mike?
Ed, I'm doing good, my friend. We'll see you out tonight.
One of the best shows ever, man. You are on fire. You are nailing it.
Appreciate you, man. What's going on with you?
Here's what I'm worried about, though, Mike, is how are they going to control this? They got so many ways they can hit us with, food shortage, with cyber attacks, with the banks closing. They can have us on our knees, given, 5 or 10 different variables they can use on us. Are they going to have to use the military to control it, or are they just going to let it run crazy? I mean, we'll be Mad Max, don't you think?
I do think it will get to that, and of course, like I always said, their intention is to make this a long, drawn out event. So, in time, people will get weary. People will more than likely run out of supplies. Like, I don't think there's no such thing as prepping for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because I don't think people are able to really, have that much sustenance stored up. Some people do, most people don't. And then also you factor in it, once they do put boots on the ground, God forbid they do at some point, as I've always said, the people who are the biggest target are the people who have hunkered down in one spot and made that place their final stand. The person who has everything, they got the bunker with all the food, and that's going to be the primary target where people can go right away. So it's definitely a tricky situation, man, because there's no right or wrong. We haven't lived through what we're possibly going to experience in any capacity, because it's happening all around the planet at once. So the devil's definitely busy, but believers will prevail.
Yeah, and I think you're right on the the very end thing. It'll be the guys who's hunkered down, but that's such a small percentage. I'm worried about in the meantime when the food runs out and things get fired up. I think it could turn Mad Max pretty quick unless they have some way of enforcing the laws and holding the people who are just plain out hungry and broke and destitute down.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, it's the people who will become desperate, and they'll. That's why I think it'll be a lot easier for the government to roll out whatever they want, because people will be downright desperate at some point to where they'll take anything, and any suggestion given, and they'll definitely run with it. So. But then also, real quick, I want to share on screen something that is out of Australia. And it says, unprepared. It says, COVID pandemic to last 5 to 10 years, the experts warn. And so they've already pre-planned that this whole transition would take up to a decade. So we're just on year 2. So, like I said before, this is a well thought out semi-plan that they're trying to orchestrate. Now, hopefully, they're losing. Hopefully the resistance will stand up and push back along the way. But think about this. They scripted this out decades ago. And so it's all about dying currencies and their need to transition, the world closer towards that one world currency and that one world government that we know comes about in the end times. So, yeah.
I think though, Mike, I think that the CDC kind of threw in the towel yesterday. Did you hear what that lady said about all the pre-existing conditions and all that? I mean, I know a lot of people aren't listening, aren't getting that news, but that's what they're themselves are putting out. I thought they threw in the towel.
Right. So I did see the CDC basically coming out saying that, it's the people who succumb to it have up to 4 comorbidities or whatever. And then also today, they said that the PCR tests are null and void. And I think I saw something about they won't no longer be requiring them or something like that I saw. So it's just too many events where they appear to be giving up. But I believe that, that also could be a part of their, a part of a script as well. So I would hope to say they are losing, but I just keep it at that.
I listen to you on almost everything, but I think that the whole COVID thing is dead. I think it was a distraction.
Yeah.
It did its job, destroyed the economy. Now they're going to roll out bigger things. When they take our money and our food, we're not going to care who's got COVID or who's breathing on who.
Right. Good point, man. And I think, of course, as I start off talking about, their plans for a cyber event, like, this is the third one, 3 strikes you out. After March, I wouldn't be surprised if they are losing control, it'll be that much more in their favor to pull that plug and really cause some chaos, because that could be that next catalyst towards furthering government control, without the whole health narrative. They can just say people can't eat now. They need new currency, and they directly deposit it to them, CBDC time. So, but who knows, man? I think it's interesting to see how they have given us all this information to chew on, while all along, hopefully people are learning from this stuff and doing the best they can to, make the adjustments they need to make in their own personal lives, private lives, as well as their financial lives. So that's what it's all about, man. Hopefully forewarning a couple people before things unfold completely. So.
Hey, what's going to be our big communication lines when they they pull the plug? Is there anything on the internet? Are we going to be able to connect and talk to each other?
So as of now, it all depends on how far and how widespread it is across the internet. I don't think it's going to be the entire internet, because they need to roll out their CBDCs, and the only way people can download it on their phones is if they have internet. But I think it will be strategic at first. It'll be the banks, the too big to fail banks might one by one go down. Commercial credit unions might go down. They're gonna attack the financial sector first. So you look on your screen, check your bank account, you're gonna get zeros or error. That's going to be their way of having you download the CBDC Federal Reserve app or Treasury app or whatever. So I don't think the internet's going down, just the banking sector. But worst case scenario, if they literally stand to lose control of everything because the good guys are winning, then the internet might go off because they don't want nobody to communicate. So, but in case we are disconnected, that's why I say Discord, Telegram, the email list, all the other backup channels. I got social media. If you're a part of those, join those, huh?
They will work. Discord will work. If they kick you off YouTube, we go on Discord.
Correct. Discord is there. Telegram is there. And of course, every time I get done streaming, I put all these videos on the backup channels. So there's other channels I can stream to as well, just that there's nobody there yet. But you just type in Rethinking a Dollar, something to pop up. But hey, man, I appreciate you as always.
Go strong.
For sure. Be good, man.
Still in control. Don't forget to pray, brother.
Oh, definitely not. But I close it out right now with some prayer. Thank you. All right. Yeah. All right, man. Yeah, what a good evening. What another good night. As always, I appreciate everybody for blessing us with your presence. I got to figure out how to, no more phone calls for this evening. I got to figure out how to not cut this off. But anyway, let's get ready to close out with some prayers. I always want to make sure I lift up the good Lord, thanking him for another chance to be able to connect. And okay, yeah. Anyway, so join us tomorrow. I'm almost streaming tomorrow earlier midday. So, but anyway, let's close out some prayers. Always want to make sure everybody gets a chance to just get in agreement with collaborating on this prayer, man. But Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight as a community. Lord, I ask that you would be with and bless every single person and household that's listening to the sound of my voice right now, Father. I pray that you give them peace as well as activate your power within their lives, Father, so they can continue to just fight the good fight of faith, as well as you will use them to bring about your will in the earth, Father. We know we all have a part in this greater picture, which is to basically further advance your kingdom on earth, to bear fruit that lasts in this life and in eternity. Lord, we pray that you just create a revival in each and one of our lives, Father, giving us that pep in our steps to be able to share the good news with others and to draw them closer to your Son, Jesus Christ. Father, we thank you for just the opportunity that you continually meet all of our needs, Father. You've been good to each and every one of us, no doubt, because we're here on the internet watching a show, Lord. And I just thank you for your faithfulness to your people. And we just ask you continue to be with those that are experiencing hard times, whether they be in lockdown or in the Middle Eastern nations where, the word of the name Christ itself is illegal. We ask you to be with them, strengthen them in their faith, Lord. Allow them to just continue to fight the good fight as well. We pray it all in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, people. That's all she wrote for tonight. As always, appreciate you for hanging out with me. If you don't mind, on the way out, hit that thumbs up button, show your support. And as always, take this video, share it if you don't mind on your social media platform so more people can find out what's going on, get a different spin on the news, and hopefully have a chance to make some different decisions based upon getting different information. So once you know better, you tend to do better, hopefully. So hopefully this stuff is of value to you. But anyway, be blessed, be safe. See you guys later. Peace. Visit Rethinking the Dollar throughout the day. Your place for news on metals, gold, crypto, you name it. Scroll down to the bottom and you get a chance to see the daily videos, the recommended videos, and more importantly, the 5 reasons to unplug from the monetary matrix, with the first one being the awakening period. Step number 1, test your dollar IQ. 10 simple questions, average is 60%. Follow up with the alternative perspective with the monetary reports. Consider becoming a supporter of the Rethinking the Dollar platform via Patreon. Get a chance to hang out off air as well as additional information that can't be discussed on YouTube. Any support is helpful. With the crackdown on alternative media, the best thing to do is to connect off air. Scroll down to the very bottom. You can find Rethinking the Dollar on Telegram, audio, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, you name it. The most important ones will be the email list where you can get notified weekly, the Discord page, and make sure you connect on Telegram. And last, don't forget to visit the RTD store where you can get merchandise as well as additional information and resources. And most importantly, scroll down to the bottom and get your weight up with all the limited edition rounds only available on the RTD store.